man, once you're going through a Gaylord and you find one book that paid for the whole operation, everything, you're like, dude, there's so much gravy here. Yeah, it takes work. You're going to need a hustle. You're going to need it. You need to step out of your comfort zone. But man, I'm telling you, if you want to succeed, like, look, man, I'm 10 weeks in and I've already sold 8 Gs.
Hey everyone, Matthew Osborn here, and today I've got an interview with Hector Mora. You guys have probably seen some of his content floating around Instagram and in the Book Flipper community group. He's made some amazing content showing what his journey's been like starting his Amazon business. It's super inspiring because he's been killing it. He's destroyed my numbers from the 100 Book Challenge, which I love. He's done so much better than I did during those first 12 weeks, and it's really cool. They're going to see how he did that today. He lives in a populated area like a lot of you guys do, so we're going to figure out what he's doing and how he's kind of driven that success with his business early on. So Hector, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. It's been a fun, busy Friday morning, packaging up stuff for eBay, but excited for this interview.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking the time. As I understand it, you're missing a book sale to come to this interview, so that's how much it means, I think. So that's really awesome to see that. I feel bad for you, but I'm glad you're here.
Yeah. I'll miss it out, but it'll come back.
So tell us a little bit more about your background then. Kind of where are you from? How did you kind of get into this a little bit?
So I'm a teacher at a private school. I teach religion, and that's like kind of my Monday through Friday job. I also pastor a church here in Long Beach. And during the summer, I have to find work to provide for my family. And normally, I either build websites or rebrand churches, marketing strategies, or just anything to kind of provide for 2 months worth of living here in California, which could be, over $10,000. So
yeah.
I started finding out about reselling books early in May. And I was like, man, I think if I start now, by the time I need the money to come in, I might be able, this might be the way to do it, so that I don't have to Uber. I don't have to deliver packages for Amazon, because I've done that before. And so I literally just dove right in. I started finding sales on Craigslist. I didn't know anything. I had a little bit of knowledge on the booksalefinder.com, and I was waiting for a library sale there, but I didn't know, I had ScoutIQ on my phone, but I didn't know, okay, I was getting a lot of red, and I'm like, what do these triggers mean? I'm like, why is it telling me it's red if it's, it's got $20 profit, and then I look at the ranking, and I started, I bought a bunch of books cheap, like 25 cents, 50 cents here and there at estate sales. But they were high ranking books. They were long tail books. And I really I wasn't seeing much until I really started consuming more content and started really valuing when, ScoutIQ would show green on a book. And so then I was like, okay, well, this is how I need to shape my business. I need to find more books like this, because these are the ones that are going to sell. These are the ones that are profitable. And so then I began the journey of finding the sources that would produce those books. So that's kind of started.
So given that you kind of have a little bit of a background, almost kind of like myself, in marketing and digital type stuff, what made you want to pursue books versus other avenues of kind of like that side income? I'm sure if you search on YouTube or how to make money on the side, there's so many things about affiliate websites or building websites for people. What made you interested in books specifically? You just found that, or?
Well, I found RA, you need a lot of capital to get started. You need to have a few $1,000s. And people say, oh, watching Reezy's story, that's insane, because I think he started with $5, right? Yeah. But he started with books, and so looking at my investment, I didn't have much money to start, but I knew, hey, if I can buy 100 books, at 50 cents a piece, that's $50, and I could see a return of a couple $100, man, let's go, So I was like, man, this is the easiest way into, selling stuff online. I highly suggest, like, not only suggest it, but I can testify that it's definitely books, man, because it's easy to find. People want to get rid of them, and you can find free books, and also they're easy if you were just to buy them. It's a small buy-in for a big return.
No, I love that. It's such an easy entry, like you said, because of the amount of money it takes to invest versus a lot of other avenues of making money. It's what makes it a great thing to start out doing. Yep. And you're doing little other things other than just books now, aren't you? You're doing some stuff on eBay and other stuff like that, right? Or are you just doing
books? So I'm doing books, but when I go to a yard sale and listening to Gary Vee, listening to Steve Rakin, and just see, like, I can't just pass up a wrapped puzzle or a wrapped video game or a wrapped board game, and it's like selling for $1 and me not want to scan that. Yeah, I'm there for books, but like this whole right here, this whole bin is full of toys and stuff that I've found while searching for books that I couldn't pass up on, like board games, specifically puzzles that are just sealed. You look on eBay and you look at the comps and they're like $20 and they're selling it for $1. Shoot, might as well make $15 after shipping. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely. So when you first got into this, then you first decided, yes, I want to sell books. This is something I want to do to make a side income. Did you set a goal of how many you were trying to find each week, or did you just try and get as many as possible, or how much time were you kind of investing right away?
Well, I stumbled upon the 100-book challenge, and I was like, man, okay, this is a goal. And then I watched all your videos. I probably watched week 1 through 13. Like, I watched that as inspiration and just and to check my numbers. You know what I mean? To check my numbers, like, hey, end of week 6, let me watch this video. And then I would watch it.
Yeah, now on week 7.
Yeah. And like, I know, this is the week where he did both 10 and 11 together because his family was in town.
Yeah.
So like all of those videos, like I'm like, okay, this is checks and balances. But I was like, all right, let's try to get 100 books a week. And so the first week, I think I hit 87. The second week I hit 93. And then after that, I found the right sources and I doubled and tripled the 100 books a week, where now I'm at week 10. And I made a mistake on my calculations. On the post I put, I was at 1900, but I'm actually at, I was at 1990, but I'm actually at 1890. So I was 100 books short from what I posted this week, I think it was. But in 10 weeks, I managed to source and send off 1,800 books.
That's amazing. So one of the hardest things getting started with this, I know from personal experience and just from all the people I've talked to, is getting over that hump where you're spending all the money but not seeing that return coming back to the bank account yet. That's where so many people fall off the wagon. They do it hardcore for 4 or even 5 weeks, and they see that $100 back from Amazon after 5 weeks, and they're like, I'm done with this. What made you get over that hump? Because you invested, I'm sure, a lot of money to get those almost 2,000 books. Yeah. What made you stay with it? What made you stay with it?
Listening to content, surrounding myself with people that were hopeful, and my wife cheered me on, and she was like, man, you're doing this. And seeing the sales come in, I was like so blessed by that and so encouraged by that. But also knowing, like, I'm a firm believer that what you reap is what you sow. And, there's this one proverb, and I don't want to get religious, but it's a very practical proverb that says this, that in all labor there's profit, but mere talk leads to poverty. And dude, that like motivated me to just get off my butt and source every single day, because I knew the more books I sent, the more potential of making money. And so to me, that the drive to see more money come in actually got me off my butt out into the field to find the books, and then like realizing, okay, I know that books cost money, so how can I get free books? And then I found a way to get free books.
I like, it's really funny you bring up that proverb. I had that proverb on the home screen of my phone for so long, just because that, like you said, that motivated me right there. It's so simple, but it's so true, especially in like the social media age where everyone's talking. You got to find those who are actually doing it, and you have to put in the work yourself. And so I love that. That's a really good way to motivate yourself and get yourself over that hump. And it sounds like you're pretty much over that hump 10 weeks in. You've been starting to see some of those payouts, right?
Yeah, I just got my first payout this morning. And it was,
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was $1,300. But see, here's the thing, like, okay, my first payout was negative. I owed $200. Like, wait, what? I just bought books and Amazon's charging me money. Like, that's not good, you know? But then the next 2 weeks, it was at zero. And in the 2 weeks following, I got like my first $35 check. And then the 2 weeks after that is when I got the $1,300. And then now that's my base. So if I look at my app right now, I'm already at $1,300 for the next payout. Yeah. So it's only going to increase from there, you know? And so I honestly, like, I had other jobs that were kind of floating me while I was getting that money, you know, or waiting for that money. So that really helped. But you have to be willing to wait. I think is it Karen, her name? That you interviewed from Eugene, Oregon. Was it Eugene, Oregon? Or, I don't know.
Yeah, Karen Black. Yeah.
He said, you know, don't expect to make money. And like, I think for her it was months, you know.
Yeah,
and I was like, she obviously
books a week, so it took her a long time.
Yeah. So to me, I was trying to avoid that, you know, and she stuck with it. So it goes to show us, like, whether you're just starting out and you're sourcing 50, 60 books a week, or if you're like me and sourcing 200 books a week, you just have to get over that hump and just wait, you know, be patient and allow your work to speak for itself.
Yeah. So I don't want you to have to give away any secrets here, but you do live in a very populated town. Yeah. And you kind of hear it both ways. On one hand, you hear people say there's so much competition in really big towns. On the other hand, there's a lot more books in really populated towns. How did you go about, you said you figured some things out where you were able to go from like 50 books to 100 to 200. Was that building relationships? How did you find those sources in just a populated area?
So being a pastor, I talk a lot and I talk to people all the time, you know, and I just want to know what they're about, what they're doing, what their journey is. And as I'm scanning books, I'm talking to the Goodwill associates, I'm talking to the thrift store associates. And then when I'm done, I always ask the question, like, hey, are there any more books I could scan? And one lady literally was like, yeah, just go into the back. You can take a look at all those books. And I was like, wait, really? She's like, yeah, go. And I was like, awesome. Oh my goodness. And so I went back there and there was 2 Gaylords. They were just sitting there. And man, it was hot. I got dirty. It was messy, but I got out of there with like 150 books. And I paid, you know, like they're like, man, you killed it. And I was like, hey, so I live down the street. Let me know when you have more books. And she now, I talked to the manager after that, and she's like, you're really going to buy all these books? I was like, yeah, I'm going to buy all these books. I was like, and if there was more, I'd buy more. And she's like, okay, well, let me take down your number. And literally she calls me like, hey, I have a Gaylord full. You want to go through it? I was like, yeah, you let me know. And then I realized it was that easy. That was like my 3rd or 4th bookstore, a book thrift store that I went to, that I was just talking with people. I started, you know, I made not the mistake, but I learned really quick that going to Savers and paying $2-3, almost $4 a book is not good for my business. And so I realized that thrift stores sell their books between 50 cents and $1.50. And so I realized that there's a lot of thrift stores in my area, and there's thrift stores all over Los Angeles County. So if I go to a library sale, I will, at the end of it, if I'm not satisfied, if I'm like, I just got like 15 books, 16, 17 books. Just yesterday, I went to a library sale in La Cañada. This is all public knowledge because it's on booksalefinder.com. And I was like, yeah, they picked through this already. And I was able to get like I think it was 15 books, 14 or 15 books. And I just wasn't satisfied. I was like, man, I drove an hour over here. I'm going to make this like profitable. So I found another thrift store down the street. I went to it and got 30 books. And I was just like, okay, cool. Now I'm like, and these were textbooks that were new that were $30, $40 a piece. I was like, whoa, man. So I made it profitable. And so came back. I was stoked. And made my trip over there. But, I just wasn't satisfied with, like, I could sit here and complain about, oh, man, library sales suck. You got to get there early. Yeah, you got to get there early. Yeah, sometimes they do suck. And sometimes they even tell you, like, don't even come here because people have already picked through them. Like, you go on Book Sale Finder and you'll see that, like, some books have been removed to sell on the internet. Believe that, because I've been to library sales where I've scanned 1,000, 2,000 books and gotten zero out of it. Like maybe one like Harry Potter book that I'm restricted on or something, But finding, I already forgot what the question was, but not giving up, not being satisfied with, like, not complaining, and just finding ways, like finding different like thrift stores and trying so many like different places. I always wonder, like when I'm driving with my girls, I have 3 daughters and my wife, and we're driving by a thrift store. I'm like, I wonder what's in there, like what is it? There's something in there. Like every thrift store in your area has potential. And you might not tap into that potential because you never went in and you never talked with anybody. But until you do it, you won't ever know. And you might be around the corner from, a thrift store that could be your honey hole that nobody knows about, which I have a couple. And I would have never have thought that those are the stores where I'm coming out with 40, 50 books a week, just there. I'm not even talking about the other stuff that I do to get free books.
No, I love that. So it really sounds like then like relationships was the big turning point for you. Because if you just stuck with cherry picking, not making those relationships, I'm sure you'd be a whole lot smaller than you are right now and a whole lot more money invested, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd still be going to Savers and spending $3-4 a book when, around the corner from me, there's books for 75 cents,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, no, that goes to show you relationships are everything. And for a lot of those people watching too that are maybe nervous about making relationships or think they see scanners all the time, so there's no opportunity for them to make relationships, I can almost guarantee you most people never take the time to go out of their way to get to know the people at that store and make relationships. So I think you can probably vouch for that too. Like just because you see other people scanning there does not mean there's a relationship that's already been made. There's still potentially opening that door for you, especially if you have a ton of thrift stores around you.
Yeah, and here's the deal. Like there's always like in this, I've learned this in my pastorate. There are pastors, there are lawyers, there are doctors, there are salesmen that give your occupation a bad rap. And it's our job to prove them wrong, that not all of us are like that. And when you go into a thrift store and you bring, like now I go there, I buy them lunch. Like, hey, what do you guys want for lunch? Like, I'm hungry. And we order Postmates on me. Yeah, I'm spending $50-$60, but I'm getting to see books that nobody else is getting to see. Like, I should see that as a privilege. So me going in there and get, here's another thing. I get a bunch of free books, right? Through a specific source. I don't take all the books. Some of the books are duds. I got stuck with 3 Gaylords of duds, after I picked through all of them, right? So you're like, what do I do? Well, I could get a recycler, which I have, to come pick them up. Or what I can do is have a book giveaway. And dude, this was crazy. So I set up tables I had like 4 or 5 tables and then boxes everywhere in my driveway. And I put on Craigslist, book giveaway, come get what you want. And I took pictures of everything, and my community came out, and they just started, I was building relationships with them.
Yeah.
I'm in a city, I'm pastoring a city, might as well make relationships with them. And they came up and they're just like, where did you get these books? I was like, they were free to me. I'm going to give them to you, And so I started, establishing relationships with people. And then there was the resellers that would come in and they were like, oh, free books. And they're all, I was like, hey, man, let me pull you aside real quick. Just so you know, I already scanned all these. If you're going to sell them, if you're going to do book, what I would suggest, I don't have time to do this, but go through Book Scouter. Don't ScoutIQ. You're not going to really find much because I've taken all the green already. But if you have, if you want to sell them, to pals or to sell back your book, or you want to use, I think there's one guy put me on Benevito, or I forgot what that app was, but there's also Book Scouter, where you can see what you get, like 15-20 cents or $1 a book sometimes. Go for it. But a lot of people came out, man, and I got rid of a whole Gaylord and I gave it away to people, So it's not just like, yeah, I'm receiving all this stuff, but I'm also giving a ton away, and
Yeah.
the thing that I have to keep, that keeps me motivated to be able to, like, when I see little kids taking back grocery bags full of books to their home and they're going to read them, dude, that blesses me, and I'm stoked. And parents are excited because they don't have to spend money on the books,
So how many of those 3 Gaylords were you able to give away?
2 full, 1 full one, and then my recycler came and picked up. I mean, 1 full one is still like,
That's really good.
Yeah, it's like 600 bucks.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. I like that idea. Most people just go straight to the recycler, but I like that idea of giving back and also potentially making some connections in the way and in the process of doing that. And so, yeah, I like that idea a lot.
Yeah, and then people will be like, straight up, like, oh, well, I have some books that you want them, and so you can give them away. That way they don't end up in the trash. I'm like, dude, I'll take them.
Yeah. So do you have a family?
Yeah. So I'm married. My anniversary, 14-year anniversary was 2 days ago, and I have 3 daughters.
Oh, congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So let's talk about time management then, because it sounds like you have like a lot of stuff going on with the teaching and the pastor and this. How were you able to kind of get the time to be able to do that? And how much time do you think it was taking you each week to find the books you were finding?
Okay, so I'm an early riser. So I try to get as much done while my kids are asleep, so that I can be present while they're awake. And so me and my wife, we found out, actually, like, my wife was like, hey, let's just do it together. I was like, what? And I was like, yeah. So we'll literally clear out, like, we'll pull the cars out of the driveway. And when I show up with a U-Haul full of boxes, like, our kids just start going through the boxes and, like, lining them up. And then we just tell them, like, okay, put them all, barcode side up and make piles. And they sit there and they do it. Then they get bored, and then they go in the house and, mess around. And then they come back out and they're like, okay, I'm ready to do it again, and we'll sit there as a family and we'll do it together. It takes longer, but like, to me, that's like a spiritual story of how, like, we can do things by ourselves and we could do it great, or we can teach people to do it with us, and it's an experience, and it teaches them something, and they're going to learn, like we're going to go to Disneyland in a couple weeks, and we're going to Disneyland with the money we made from the books. And it's like, we're telling them, look, all that work that you put into sorting books and putting the barcodes up and all that stuff, it's going to pay for this. We're going to drop like a G at Disneyland just on admission, but it's one of those things where I was like, my wife was literally like, no, let's do this together. I was like, are you sure? And she's like, yeah. And, one thing I've learned is there's a lot, like, men like to work, and that's kind of something we do individually on our own to provide for our families. But man, when we work side by side with our families, it's a true blessing.
No, I love that, because that's, I think, a hard part for a lot of people that have families is figuring out the time to do this, not a full-time job. I love that you brought them into that, and they can do that with you. And like you said, I'm not sure how old they are, but even if they're young, they can flip a book over to the bar side for you. Bars, coach, a lot of little tasks like that. Well, first of all, I see your work ethic. They're learning a work ethic and skills in the process, and it's quality family time. And I love that. That's a perfect way, I think, to blend it. Like you said, even if it takes a little longer, who cares? It's quality family time. They're learning. You're having fun. I like that. I haven't heard of that yet. So that's really good to hear.
Yeah, but obviously there's you can't take them to a library sale. Like my 4-year-old, dude, she'll wreck, But like my 7-year-old and my 9-year-old, they know how to scan. That's free labor, man. But it's fun for them. They're just like, man, I can't wait till I get a green one. And they get so much, like, they're stoked when they get like a $100 book. Is crazy. Like, they're just like, oh my gosh, I found and it's like I found $100 bill almost. I'm like, well, settle down. We still have to send it. It still has to sell. But yeah, you should be excited. It's paying for your food.
I like that a lot. So when you got started, one of the other things a lot of people struggle with getting started is figuring out what they should buy at first. It's a little overwhelming because there's software involved, there's tools involved. What type of stuff did you invest in tool-wise when you got started and along the way that have really helped you that you recommend other people do, like scanners, printers, things like that? Did you wait? Did you do them right away? What was your story?
Man, so the first thing I did was I got the app, the ScoutIQ app for myself. And man, the first time I went to this estate sale, and it was like advertised as thousands of books, right? What I didn't know is that this estate sale was like ongoing. And there were old books, like old books, like historic books. And some of them didn't even have an ISBN. It was like that something Library of Congress or something like that. I don't know exactly what. They had that kind of a number. And I was like, man, I don't even know. So I had to like type in the titles, and like it was just rough. And I was like, man, forget that. I need a scanner for sure. So I ordered the Nadamu one, and that one has been like Old Faithful to me. The E-Yo-Yo one looked kind of janky to me. And I was just like, oh, I don't know about that one. I'll order the Nadamu one. But I just couldn't like justify spending $190 on the Opticon. Then I realized like at the library sales that the people using the Opticons were like, they had that finger thing, and like, they had all these like the phone tied to their hand. I've left my phone in boxes at library sales like a dozen times, because I just leave my phone there and I'm scanning. I'm like halfway down the road, and they're like, I found a phone. I'm like, oh, that's mine, like I'm back. So I might have to invest in one of those things to hold your phone. But the scanner I got, and then so first of all, ScoutIQ, then the scanner. Then I realized I'm spending too much time listing, so I got Accelerlist, and I was blown away, But these things I found like, this is crucial, man, for my time, to be able to list as many books as I'm sourcing. I needed to make this a quick process, And then I learned about the box contents. That was costing me money when I would like, let me just list 150 books at a time, and hopefully I won't get any split shipments. And then I realized I'm paying for box contents, and then I realized, okay, maybe I should just do one box at a time. And I found out I have a couple of other friends that are resellers, and they found out that I was selling books, and then they saw my numbers, and they're like, what the heck? Like, on books? I was like, yeah, bro. Like, this is crazy, huh? And they're like, yeah. And I met up with my buddy Jesse, and dude, he gave me a Dymo that he wasn't using.
Awesome.
Yeah, and he's like, dude, I'm not using it. It had a little like glitch to it, but I was like, dude, I don't care, So I like started listing with a Dymo just this last couple weeks. I recently bought the e-yo-yo, the new e-yo-yo. I bought one from Amazon, but it was not a 1D scanner, which I was tripping out on. It was weird. It shows a white LED, but instead of the line, the barcode line, it shows like a little square or circle. It still scans it, but it's not as fast. And I had realized that the one from China is a 1D scanner with the line, barcode line, and that one should get here in like another 2 weeks. But so I have a couple scanners that I'm using. That I bought one for my wife, and now my kids use it. And then I use the Notamu one. Has a great battery life. And then besides that, obviously boxes. I buy them either at U-Haul, or U-Haul is like 87 cents if you buy 25. And then there's the Home Depot ones you can buy. I haven't bought any from Home Depot actually, but I like them. I was given a bunch from a pickup I did the other day. This lady had 19 boxes of books that she just gave me.
Really cool.
They were all packaged up in Home Depot boxes. And I was like, oh, I like these boxes. And I think Romer was the one that said that the cool thing about those is you can't go over 50 pounds because it just won't fit. So that's
the extra small Home Depot ones.
Yeah. So those are kind of cool too. But then I bought a bunch of these guys. They're like poly bags, because what I realized is that I was giving away a lot of books that were profitable. And what I mean by that, in the book you give away things, I was, just giving, just take it. It's not profitable for me on Amazon. And I was like, man, but what if Amazon isn't the only stream? Like what if I could sell them on eBay? And I recently got a bunch of stuff on stranded inventory. So I sent it back to myself, and now I just listed it on eBay, and I'm selling it for like $10 or whatever. I'm not making that much money on it, but at least it's not going in the trash.
Have you sold some of those?
What's that?
Have you sold some of those on eBay already?
Yeah. And not only that, like this, the one customer called me up. And they're like, hey, I have a website. I want, can you come pick them up? And she was like, man, like I had to like literally bring my own boxes, pack up half of her library. And she was like, hey, as a gift, I'm not paying you to do this. And I know you had to rent a U-Haul and everything. I want to give you a couple of my books for you to sell. And I was like, okay. She gave me first edition Charlotte's Web, which sold for $70 on eBay. She gave me first edition Stuart Little, first edition Winnie the Pooh. And then she's like, this one was crazy, but I'm going to give it to you. It's first edition Little Women. She's like, some guy's selling it on eBay for $1,200, but I don't think you should sell it for that much. Maybe, sell it for like $500 and see what happens. And I was like, well, I'll list it for $1,200.
I'm going to list it. We'll see what it sells for.
Yeah. And then like, I think I have, she gave me also like, this is kind of one, this is Little Men, an Old Fashioned Girl. And it's from 1870 and 1871. And then this is how the Little Women one's packaged up. But it was pretty cool. So
these are like eBay you're doing for these ones?
Yeah. So I found out that all like the antique stuff, man, there's a good market for them on eBay. So that's where I found the Charlotte's Web one. And the Charlotte's Web, I think, was up for like maybe 10 hours, 10 hours, and it sold. I got so many offers. Like people were like $40, $45. And then I posted something on my Instagram, like, should I wait or should I go on this? And people were like, wait, and a couple people said, go for it. But $69.99, like 20 minutes later. So it was rad.
So do you think you've started to get an eye for these type of books? Do you look for these actively when you're out scanning as well, like library sales and stuff like that?
So I will put them aside. Yeah. If I look at a book and I'm like, that's an old book. Like if it's falling, like if it looks old, it's probably an 1800 book, year, like, the 19th century. And so I should probably hold on to it. And then after, when I'm done, I'll go through and I'll like look at the publishing day. And then I'll look it up as that. So I know it's not going to sell on Amazon. Well, I don't know. I think it's not going to sell on Amazon. I have a hunch it's not going to sell on Amazon. But I know that it can sell on eBay. And so I'll look it up and I'll literally put in the title, like, you know, Charlotte's Web 1939. Like, you put the title in with the year that it was published, and dude, you'll find comps for it like $30, $40, $100, you know, that you would never have known just looking up, you know, an ISBN on ScoutIQ, you know what I mean? So I'll put them aside. I'm starting to like, if it has those the woven covers, you know, where you could see like the actual like you know, string and stuff, like they have a texture to the books.
Yeah.
Those are like, they might be profitable, you know. But think about it this way: you can make a lot more money on eBay than you can on Amazon if eBay sold more than Amazon did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
the percentage is a lot less they're taking from you.
Yeah. So like, yeah, I'm paying 35 cents to list it. And guess what? I'm going to promote it. So I'm going to do the trending promotion, which is another $1 or so. But I'm going to get $30. After I ship it media mail, I'm making 25, where if I were to sell a book on Amazon for 30, I'm barely making like 17, 18 bucks, you know? So,
yeah.
Yeah.
So have you done merchant fulfilled and FBA, or have you done FBA from the very beginning?
I've only done FBA. I haven't done any merchant fulfilled on Amazon. All my eBay stuff is, you know, obviously merchant fulfilled.
Yeah.
So I haven't done any, I'm sorry, I haven't done any merchant fulfilled on Amazon.
Okay. So taking a little step back, you were talking about the different tools and stuff you used. If you were advising a friend on how to start an Amazon business, would you recommend they like get all those tools right away, or would you recommend they slowly piece them in as they grow? What's kind of your opinion based on your experience?
Okay, you need a scanner for sure. Well, you need a phone. You need a phone that's charged. You know,
That
and
helps.
then if you're gonna invest in anything, the Nadamu, it's bulky. I get it, but it's faithful and it's good enough. It's like perfect to start off. And I think it's only like 39. I think $40. I don't know how much it is. I already forgot. But that thing, dude, I'm telling you, that's the first thing you should buy. Then you're gonna need to buy the labels to, you know, and just go with the 30 up labels, the Avery, the sheets where it has the 3 rows of 10, and you know, you have your printer at home. Do that. You know, it's actually a way to do checks and balances. You know, to like, you look at the label and it has the same title and everything, and they're a little bit bigger, so they cover the barcodes better than the Dymo. So the Dymo, actually, I was like, well, once I start getting more of these, you know, 6-figure checks, I'll purchase one, you know. But when my buddy gave it to me, I was like, shoot, I want to try it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
So that's the only reason why I have it. But I would have probably purchased it 3rd month in. No, that's not a necessity. The necessity, definitely the scanner, because I don't know if it was Reezy or Steve who said you need to get through the duds to get, you know, that the faster you get through the bad books, the more profitable you'll be. And the only way you're going to get through the bad books is if you have a way to scan faster. And so ScoutIQ database mode, dude, I remember like sitting there like scanning and having to wait a second. Okay, done. Okay, now into the next one. Now with database mode, you're just like boom, 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 boom. You know, like you're going through a box of books in like seconds. You know, so I was like, okay. So first thing I did was get the ScoutIQ app. Then I got the scanner, and then I got database mode on my phone on ScoutIQ. And then I got Accelerlist, and then I went team mode, or I added my wife to it. So she's got it on her phone. She knows how to do it. And she's like, this is fun, you know? So that's kind of how I invested. And then obviously you need boxes, you need tape. And then if you're going to do merchant fulfilled, you need poly bags. And that stuff, like, you know, the scanner, the poly bags, the boxes, and the tape is under $70.
Yeah.
It's not that much, you know. So the buy-in to the book reselling business is not that big, you know. But you need to make a sacrifice, because if, you know, you're spending, like, people are spending money going out to eat, you know, all kinds of coffee. You know, if you just take a week and not go out to eat, you have enough money to start a book selling business.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, I really like your breakdown there, because I think a lot of people feel like they either need to buy nothing up front and then just wait till they make money, which they can, but it'll take a lot longer, or they feel they need to invest in everything all up front. I like your way of kind of piecing those in that order. I think that's a great method of doing it. And like you said, I really like you talked about first focus on scanning quicker, and then focus on kind of the optimizing the listing process, because there's no point, like you said, in buying all this stuff for listing and a Dymo and Accelerlist if you're not finding the books in the first place to list. Yeah. So go all in on finding books, and then once you've got them, go all in on the listing stuff. I really like how you broke it down that way.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, well, thanks so much for doing this. Do you have any kind of like last minute tips, anything you want to throw at beginners or people that are just starting out?
So find a way to get free books. I'm telling you, if you find a way to lower your costs on free books or on books, period, then you're going to have your ROI is going to go up, you know, and then you're going to have more money to invest in the tools that you need. But you have to be willing to do the work. Like those 19 boxes that were on the third story of that condo, bro, like, first of all, I wasn't going to go up 3 flights of stairs 19 times.
Yeah.
So I got 2 of those boxes. I stacked them on, I stacked 2 boxes together, and the lady was like, "Don't break your back." You know, I'm like, "I know, it's all good." But I'm going down the stairs, you know, renting a U-Haul, all that stuff. You know, you're going in $100. Buying a Gaylord, you're going to go in $100. It's going to take money to make money. But man, once you're going through a Gaylord and you find one book that paid for the whole operation, everything, you're like, dude, there's so much gravy here, you know? Yeah, it takes work. You're going to need a hustle. You're going to need it. You need to step out of your comfort zone. But man, I'm telling you, if you want to succeed, like, look, man, I'm 10 weeks in and I've already sold 8 G's. Like, that's crazy. I didn't make 8,000. We'll be clear about that. But I sold $8,000 worth of product, and
crazy.
I'm only 10 weeks in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yep.
No, I love your story. Thank you so much for sharing that. I like just how all in you went, and then you stuck with it, even though a lot of people back out 5 weeks in, 4 weeks in. But really like that you've been sharing your journey on social media. Because it's been really cool to see your breakdowns. I love how you're breaking those down. A lot of people don't break it down like that, but I like the graphics you're doing to break it down, because it's been really cool to see your progression. I like that you're sharing the payouts too, because a lot of people share that top line revenue, but they're not sharing their payouts, which really tell the true story, I think. And I like that progression you've been showing. Like you said, now you're actually seeing those payouts 10 weeks in, and this is all the work you put in. But like you said, you've already hit your payout you just got for this next payout, and it's going to be a lot greater than that one. So it's inspiring to hear that and to see people sticking with it like you, and promoting the thing of making relationships, building relationships, and finding different ways to do it. I love that. It's a great message.
Awesome. Yeah, man. And I just want to say one thing, like your content, Caleb's content, like that group that I'm in, you know, the Book Flipper community group, Reezy's group. If you want to know, like, if you're starting out, consume their content. Stop watching TV. Stop going on Netflix. Stop all that stuff and just consume the content. It's there. It's free. Like you know, on the way home from work, consume the content, you know, and there's so much stuff. Like I would suggest, you know, if you want to start the 100 book challenge, go through your series, go through Matt Osborn's series, and just watch those shows over and over and over, and you'll see what it's going to take. You know, go on Instagram and look at the breakdown, how I did every week. And, you know, man, you'll see the real life, you know, the real scenario of it, not just like, you know, somebody like I've been following other people that are just like, look at me, I'm selling $1 million worth of product, but they're only taking home like 10% of that.
Yeah.
Because the buy-in is so much, you know, in the book selling industry, you're taking home like 30%, 35%, sometimes even 40%, you know, it just depends, you know, but I think it's still like somebody asked me in the group, is it like saturated? I'm like, yo, if I in 10 weeks can sell $8,000 worth of books, I highly doubt it's saturated, because there are books out there to get, and there are books that people want to give you and they don't even know, they just want to get rid of them. It's trash. Like forgot what's his name, My World Ecom. He was at the Turn the Page thing, and he did an interview with he was the guy that was finding books for free. I forgot his name. I think his name is Mike Allard or Alfred.
Oh, Matt Adolph?
Matt Adolph. Yeah.
Matt Adolph.
Yeah. And he's like, dude, it's trash to them. And
yeah,
he just goes up to them and says, dude, let me take your trash out, you know? And so I'm telling you, man, a lot of people out there, they just want to get rid of this stuff, and it's gold. So do it.
So true. So how can people find out more about you and follow you? I like you're posting a lot of good information. I want people to be able to see that and consume that like you're talking about. What are the best ways for them to connect with you?
Yeah. So Instagram, Hemo Hustles. That's like, it's, you know, I have a couple different accounts for my stuff, but Hemo Hustles, which is HEMO and then Hustles, on Instagram. That's where I post all of my content, and I do, you know, polls like, hey, yes or no on this buy, or, you know, whatever. And you'll get to see me, you know, go rent a U-Haul and go blind into, you know, I'm doing this Monday. This lady, she's like, I'm a homeschooler. I have 10 years worth of books that I need gone. They're in 3 shelves that are 6 foot wide, 8 feet tall. So I already scheduled. I got the U-Haul app on my phone now because I'm giving money away to them. I might have to buy a vehicle. I think Hello Kitty dealer. They're gonna upgrade their vehicle. But you know, you're gonna see me do all this stuff. You're gonna see me, you know, go through real life scenarios, and you know, I'm going to tell you exactly what to expect when you're making money. But yeah, Hemo Hustles. My private account is, or not private, but my personal account where you see some of my family stuff and church stuff is Hector Mora on Instagram. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah, no, everyone, I highly encourage you, follow his journey, follow those. I'll put the links in the description below so you can link to his channel, see all that. You want to look at that because like, he started at the very beginning, so it's been awesome to see his journey up until this point. But as you guys can tell just by listening to this interview, he's going to double his stuff in a couple weeks, then triple it a couple weeks after that, and quadruple it. So watch his journey because I'm positive he's going to keep growing. So I'll link to all those below. But thank you so much for doing this interview with me and sharing all of that knowledge for everyone, like you said, to consume and grow their own business. So thank you so much for that.
All right. God bless you guys. Take care.
All right. Have a good rest of your day.